Hey guys, welcome back to another Paladins video. In this video, I'm going to be giving a brief overview as to what Paladin is for those of you that don't know, how the game works, and what you can expect from me in terms of content. Okay, so for anyone that doesn't know, Paladins is a free-to-play first-person shooter, or FPS game, where players fight in a 5 vs 5 fashion to capture objectives. It's similar in ways to Overwatch, however its MOBA-like style and fantasy setting allow for its own unique concept. As of right now, there are 4 main ways to play Paladins. The first mode is Siege. Siege is a mode where teams fight over an objective point to then spawn a payload, which they then have to push to the other team's spawn to win the game. Next is Team Deathmatch. Team Deathmatch is a 5 vs 5 fight in which the first team to reach the set goal of 40 kills wins. Then there is Onslaught / King of the Hill, which is a mode where both teams fight to control a select area on the map, which moves about during the game. The first team to reach 400 points wins. Finally, there is Ranked mode. Ranked mode is the competitive scene for Paladins players. The only mode you can play in Ranked is Siege. You begin with having to complete 5 placement matches, which if completed will result in you being awarded a rank. The ranks go from Bronze, being the lowest, all the way up to Masters and Grandmasters. The more you win matches in Ranked, the more points you earn, allowing you to progress up the rankings. With my Paladins content, I hope to showcase all of these modes and any new future modes that release down the line. When you have chosen which game mode you'd like to play, you will load into a match lobby which allows you to pick your champion. As of this video, there are 42 playable characters, which are split up into 4 main classes: Damage, Frontline, Support, and Flank. Damage champions can deal high amounts of damage to enemy players with their weapons and abilities. A good damage champion is able to shoot enemies from different angles, which makes it harder for the enemies to fire back or escape from your high amounts of DPS. A frontline champion or tank champion is considered the driving force of the team. They are out in the front, which means they have to be able to soak up the damage from enemy champions, whilst inflicting damage onto their opponents at the same time. They also need to make sure their allies, who have smaller health pools, don't die as easily with the likes of shields and barriers. The main role for a support is to heal up allies on their team so they don't die as easily. However, they must be outputting damage, otherwise the fight essentially becomes a 4 vs 5. They also need to be able to survive if someone was to flank them. A good support will be able to hold their own against flankers, whilst being able to keep the health of their allies up as best they can. Finally, flanks. Flanks, in my opinion, can make or break a game. The flank class should scout around the map looking for enemies that are unprotected or alone that they will be able to kill. Securing these kills means the fight will be then in your favour. The reason why this can be devastating is because if an enemy flanker was to kill your support, then your front lines are without any healing, which will make their fight a lot harder on the objective. On top of this, flankers should also act as a damage champion when needed to add extra DPS to enemy champions. When picking a champion in the match lobby, you want to make sure your team has a good coverage of all the classes. The indication symbols at the top of the page tells you what classes your team has not picked up. You should consider this before picking 5 damage champions for your team, as this will most likely end in a defeat. A good composition for your team, in my opinion, would be 2 frontline champions, 1 support champion, 1 damage and 1 flank. This allows you to have full coverage of all the classes, whilst also having 2 frontline champions capturing the objective. In ranked mode, before you pick your champions, your team and the enemy team have to first ban 2 champions each from being picked. This can be really helpful as you can stop the enemy team choosing a champion that is causing you trouble. When you get into the game mode you are playing, you will be presented with a blue screen with 3 talents on the page. These talents change the way your character works. For example, if you are playing as Victor, a damage champion, you can either choose to have a longer range weapon, added explosion damage to your grenade, or to gain back health whilst you sprint. These options allow for a player to adapt to certain requirements or preferences before a game has even started. This can be a crucial part of any match. After selecting one of the 3 options, you can then get to select a champion loadout. Each champion in the game has a select set of cards, which you can use to create a loadout. These cards can give you certain buffs or variations to your champion to benefit your playstyle in game. These can be really helpful, as if you have a really slow moving character, or if you want your ability to cooldowns to be faster, adding those types of cards to your loadout will help with that. After selecting how you want to play your champion, you then have the option to purchase in-game items to help you with the fight, which can be purchased with credits you receive throughout the match. These items may be deal increased damage to shields, gain increased movement speed, or even heal health for each kill you get. Choosing the correct items can benefit your team's chances for success in battle. For example, you might play as Strix, who is a sniper in the damage class. You probably aren't going to want to choose Cauterize with him, as Cauterize is an item that reduces the effect of healing on an enemy champion. Because Strix can only shoot one shot every 1.5 seconds or so, you're not going to be applying it as effectively as other champions. With Strix, you might benefit from choosing Wrecker, which increases damage dealt to shields instead. That is pretty much the complicated part about the game. Other than what has been mentioned, the game is very similar to any other first-person shooter. If you've never played the game before, I highly encourage it. It's really fun to play and it's definitely an underrated game. Thanks for sticking to the end of the video. It's a very talkative one, but it addresses the main overview of how to play the game. I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!